If you're ready to stop building someone else's dream and start creating your own, join our free community, the Self-Directed Network, at acesmanagementinc.com/school. It's where people leaving their W-2s come together to build freedom, purpose, and momentum toward what's next. Welcome to Life After W-2. I'm your host, John Chan. After 17 years in corporate America, I made the leap to build my own business. It was messier than I thought it would be, but also full of valuable lessons I didn't know I needed. This show is about sharing shifts in mindset, pivots in strategy, and personal changes that come with pursuing financial freedom. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring it out, one step at a time. Welcome to Life After W-2. Today, I'm joined by Monica McKitterick, a family nurse practitioner who walked away from corporate healthcare to build her own direct primary care practice. We talk about what it really takes to leave the system, face imposter syndrome, and create a business that brings back real patient care, work-life balance, and personal growth. If you've ever thought about redefining success in your career, this one's for you. Monica, so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about your journey. I was looking through your LinkedIn and saw that you were in the medical field. And so just tell us a little bit about what your life was like in corporate America.
Yeah, so I've been a family nurse practitioner for 17 years. And so when I graduated back a few years ago, what you do is go get a job. You go work for a medical practice, a hospital system, somebody somewhere. And what they don't teach you in school is that those days are not spent building relationships with patients and taking great care of them and having good conversations, which is what every healthcare provider goes to school for a really long time to do. Instead, you spend your days working for a CEO who has never laid hands on a patient in their life, but wants to tell you how to do your job. And you spend all of your day charting. More than 70% of a healthcare provider's day is spent on a computer, putting information in to prove to an insurance company that we did our job so that we can hopefully get paid. But, the insurance company can deny any claim they want, and then we have to fight it even more. It's for 10 years, I did this game. I treated my patients like cattle. I had to see 30 patients a day to keep my revenue levels where they were supposed to be. And it sucked. It was awful. I was good at it. I was really good at it because I was good at cutting people off and getting things done quickly. But it was exhausting and not fun. And also working for people who were just driven by revenue numbers. It was all about the bottom line instead of doing what was best for people was really hard for me. And yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore.
That's so interesting because I just imagine that the CEO of a healthcare company would have had healthcare experience.
No. So most of them get a degree in healthcare management. Occasionally there will be a chief medical officer who is a physician, but they get to dictate medical decisions only, right? Like, who are we going to hire? How are we going to do this process? But when it comes to finances and numbers and how many patients you need to see and what your day is going to look like, it is done completely by people who have never been trained to actually take care of people.
Wow, that's crazy. So it's just like any other business where you have, I guess in my old world, it was consulting. We had billable hours milestones. So you have patient visit milestones.
Absolutely. For sure. And it just continues to get worse, honestly. It's no longer just billing and coding numbers that add up to certain numbers, but how many referrals are you making? How many prior auths have you done? It's a thing, my friend, a thing.
Got it. So just speaking to you now about it doesn't sound like you enjoyed it all that much.
At the time when I was doing it, especially in the beginning, it was just exciting. And I felt like I was doing the best that I could to change lives, but I didn't know that there was a better way, right? That's just what I accepted. That's what most healthcare providers do, right? It's not very often that healthcare providers open their own practice because we aren't taught anything about business at all throughout all of our training. And so there are some individual practices out there, but they are few and far between, and they're becoming even less, especially in the primary care world, which is the world that I love because I love to take care of a whole person, not just pieces of them. The reimbursement just keeps going down and down and down. And so all of these primary care practices are being purchased by larger health systems because you make money in medicine on specialists. That's where those health systems make money. And so they buy these primary care offices because then those primary care offices are required to send their patients to their specialist. And so that's how they drive their own business.
Got it. Man, it's just crazy. I never thought that in a million years that that's what it would be like.
Yeah. Well, and it shouldn't be.
Right.
honestly, right? I mean, in the primary care world, we used to like take care of things like high blood pressure and diabetes. And now, as soon as you get any form of diagnosis, they're sending you off to a specialist. And it's because they're required to have so many referrals every month. And because that's how this health system makes money. And it's not about patients anymore. The patient is not the customer. Your insurance company is. And that is very different in the world of healthcare.
Yeah. So then you're going through this, you're living this life. At what point do you
Mhm.
decide this is no longer for me?
Yeah, I had a really toxic CEO at one point. Just had a bit of an ego and thought he knew better than everyone else. And it didn't sit well with me. But then ultimately, we were really relocating to another state. We were in New Mexico at the time. We were relocating to Texas. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it was actually a Facebook ad that came to me and said, primary care physician takes home $400,000 a year and is home in time for dinner. And that clickbait worked like a charm, my friend. It's like, what? This isn't real life. And so it was all about this model of healthcare called direct primary care that I had never heard of before. But it's basically membership based healthcare where your patients pay a monthly fee, much like a gym membership, and then they can come in as many times as you want. You take the insurance company completely out of it. So there are no restrictions. I can see patients for 4 things at one time. I see them for 30 to 60 minutes. And it's not a fee for service practice, right? So when it's fee for service, if you're not sitting in your chair seeing a patient, you're not making money. Where with a membership basis, our revenue is always there, whether I see you or not. And so I dove into this and I was like, what is this? And I went to my husband who has an MBA. And by the way, I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant at this point. Like I had no idea because I have no business running a business. And I went to my husband and I said, I want to open a practice where I can see less patients, take better care of them, have more control of my time, and make the same amount of money. And John, I'm not joking you, he laughed in my face. And he was like, Monica, that's not real life. Like, you might be able to get 3 of those, but there's no way you can do all 4. And so I challenge accepted, Googled how to write a business plan because, AI wasn't a thing back then
Right.
and wrote a business plan and went to him and was like, okay, I think I can do this. I need $20,000 and I'm probably not going to get paid anything for at least 6 months and then maybe something after that. Right. And he said, okay. So we moved to Texas and I opened a practice 3 months later, or I'm sorry, 3 weeks later, knowing no one. I didn't have a patient following. I had to convince people I knew what I was doing, but I was all in and I really was doing it to give myself a job that I loved. And that was the beginning of it. And now it's, here we are 6 years later. I'm still alive and well.
Yeah. So, I mean, how quick was that from decision to actually making that move?
So the Facebook ad came to me in August of 2018. I went to a conference about direct primary care in November, and that was really my turning point where I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do this." And part of it was I went to this conference, and there were a bunch of physicians there. And I have the utmost respect for physicians, but it definitely was not returned. And they were like, "What are you doing here? You can't do this," which only gave fuel to my fire. And I was like, "Oh, now I'm really going to do it." So November was really the decision where I was going to do this. We weren't planning to move though until June. And so, kind of did some things, but I actually left that toxic CEO in January. And so that gave me a little time to make my own website and figure out how the heck to make a logo and what does LLC actually mean? And do I need one of those? So really idea kicked off really in January and then I opened my practice in April. So 8 months total from Facebook ad to opening my doors and
So,
moving to another state at the same time. Yeah.
yeah. So, a
Mhm.
bunch of different things all happening all at once because I moved from Virginia to Florida and that was already pretty tough.
Mhm.
And I wasn't going through a career change at the same time. So,
Yeah,
okay. So
it
then,
was a little crazy.
yeah, but a fun time, right?
Looking back now, it was fun. My
Yeah.
husband was also like being a nomad because my older son was graduating from high school, but I had a 3-year-old and it was a lot. But we did it and we made it. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So then from I guess August to November, you were kind of exploring different options. November, January, you finally made that jump.
Mhm.
And so what kind of work did you put in? I know you said you had built a website. What kind of
Yeah.
personal growth did you put into What personal growth work did you put into it?
Yeah, so I took a course on how to start a practice, which some of it applied to me and some did not because a lot of it was about an insurance-based practice, but just the legalities of do you need an LLC or do you need a PLLC? How do you write contracts? How do you get a logo? How do you get a domain name? Like all of these things I didn't know because turns out I have 3 degrees in nursing and not one in anything else. So it was a lot of just head down in a computer, Googling stuff, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, reading books, all the things on how to start a direct primary care clinic. Thankfully, I wasn't the first to do it. I was one of the earlier adopters of this, but definitely was leaning on others who had gone before me. But it was a lot of research and I was still working a full-time job. So it was a lot.
Plus a young child too.
Yeah, thankfully, I've been a big proponent of childcare because being a stay-at-home mom is not something I can do. Bless all the stay-at-home moms out there because I cannot do that job. Absolutely not. Not for me.
Right.
Cannot. Yeah.
So then I guess what was the toughest part of that transition from having a stable V2 to now trying to build your own business?
Yeah, I thankfully have an incredibly successful husband who makes enough money that we could live without my salary for a little while. And
Mm.
because of the degree I have, being a nurse practitioner, worst case scenario, I did this, I failed miserably, and then I would go find a job and sell my soul to the devil again, right? But I am also an overachiever and a people pleaser to a fault. I'm also a 3 on the Enneagram, which means I don't fail. So this was incredibly anxiety riding for me to like take this leap into something that was very unknown to me. I had no idea what I was doing. None. Zero. But it was exciting, but also incredibly frightening, especially when we went to sign the lease on the space that I was going to use. We had to personally guarantee that. And so signing this paper that says you are going to pay us $2,000 a month for the next 3 years, regardless of if you're using the space or not, was really scary for me. The rest of it was not too bad. It was like, okay, I'll get a bank account. Yeah, I'll pay $300 to the state of Texas to get this LLC, right? Like, not a big investment. That was really the like, oh crap, this is real and there's no turning back. That was probably the like most eye-opening moment of it all.
What would you say is one of the books that helps you, I guess, make the most progress towards opening your own practice?
So many books.
Mhm.
One of my favorite is Who Not How,
Mhm.
which is a lot about like, don't learn to be a photographer. It's not worth your time. Don't learn to be a
Mhm.
graphic designer, right? Do what you're good at. Another is Everybody Sells, which I didn't actually understand that I have actually been in sales my whole career, right? Like selling a patient on making lifestyle changes when you're diabetic or have high blood pressure, or hey, you really should take this pill, right? There's a time and a place for a pill. This is it, right? It's all sales. Everybody sells. Moms sell to kids all day long. And so that book was really eye opening to me to be like, look at that. But one of my favorite authors ever is Rachel Hollis. She does a lot in the like personal growth space. So her book, Girl, Wash Your Face, was really one of the turning points for me to like build that self-confidence, be like, you know what, I can do this. I can do it and I'm going to. And here we go.
Yeah. Who Not How is definitely great. They have like the gap and the gain, and then 10x is easier than 2x. Those
Oh
are
yeah.
really helpful too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could sit here and talk about amazing business and strategy and self-help books forever because there's so
Yeah.
many out there. So many good
Yeah.
ones.
Exactly. So, I mean, it sounds like you just put your head down. You knew exactly what you had, well, you figured out what you had to do, and then you went and learned it. Did you
Mhm.
take on any partners, or did you just do it on your own?
100% me. I mean, I had my husband as a
Yeah.
consultant, but no, it was me from the beginning. The first person I hired was a CPA because the IRS scares the crap out of me. And I wasn't about to put this work in and then realize, like, oh, yeah, by the way, I didn't pay my quarterly taxes. Who knew that was a thing? Quarterly tax? What? I thought you do that once a year. So, yeah, I did everything from the janitor to faxing machine to all of it. I mean, it was just me for the first 15 months.
And then your first hire was a CPA?
Well, I hired the CPA before, but the first
Okay.
person I hired as a W-2 employee was
Mhm.
15 months later. And that was another nurse practitioner that could also take patients. That was kind of the transition when I went from building a job to starting a business. because I think there's a big difference, right? Like if it was just me seeing patients, then I have nothing to sell because I am the business. And so if I want to step out of it, then it's all that relationship, which is fine. That was my intent from the beginning, was just to give myself a job. But now fast forward 6 years later, I have 3 locations, 7 nurse practitioners, and 10 full-time employees. A little different than what I planned, but it's been a great journey.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's been a lot of mistakes and learning, and yeah, I wouldn't change it though. It's been great.
Yeah. I think that's a nice point, though. A lot of mistakes. Everyone has to make mistakes in order to get to where they want to go. I
Mhm.
think it's the winners fail the most is the quote that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a failure unless you don't learn from it. And then it's a
Mm,
mistake. So, and I don't
yeah.
fail, I refuse. So
Yeah.
it's been a process, but yeah, it's not where I expected to be. And I'm interested to see where we are 5 years from now, because I have like this idea of what it looks like, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. One of the recurring themes is that you have an idea, a picture, but then that always kind of changes at least a little bit.
Absolutely. And mine changed a lot even in the last year and a half. Like I gave up patients. I don't actually see patients anymore. I am just the CEO of my company now. And I had these visions of, well, I have 3 clinics, why not 10? Right? Like if you can do it 2 times over, why not 10 times over? And so we had these great audacious dreams. And then last about a year ago, I went on an entrepreneur reality TV show called The Blocks. BLOX. It is a business competition. And I competed against 120 business owners across the country. And spoiler alert, I won. And I won $10,000. And it was like the first time I had validation that I belonged doing what I was doing, that I no longer was an imposter. Like, okay, if I can win this competition, then okay, I must be in the right place. So I came back and had all this like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's build these clinics. Let's do all the things. And I burnt myself out to the actual, I physically got ill. And so through a lot of journaling and tears and therapy, I realized that I was chasing success that wasn't mine, right? I never wanted 10 clinics. I opened this practice to get more control of my time, not less. And that's exactly what I was losing. And so I had to really redefine what success meant to me. And what success meant to me was spending time with my family and going on vacation and making sure that my 10-year-old, he's now 10, knows who I am when he graduates. Cause I could have 10 clinics, but he won't even know that I exist because I will never be home. And so I've always had this passion that I want direct primary care to become the norm, not the exception. So for all those that are listening to this, learn about direct primary care. It is membership-based healthcare that is literally going to fix our healthcare system, and go tell somebody about it, because that is my ultimate goal. And so I realized that I can't change the world with just 3 clinics. I need more healthcare providers to open practices like mine, but I don't need crappy healthcare providers to do it. I need the best healthcare providers to do it. So I wrote a book, and it's for those healthcare providers. And it's not a how-to book. It's a should you book. So it's called DPC, Dream Job or Total Disaster. And it's a quick 100-page read. You can find it on Amazon. That is for those healthcare providers who are burnt out or are like, wait, what does this direct primary care thing look like? And so it answers all the questions that I had before I opened my own practice. And then at the end of the book, you should be able to answer, yes, this is for me. Like, can I be an entrepreneur? That's really the question that you can answer at the end of the book. And then I released an online course for those providers that is all the mistakes that I made, but the answers to them, right? So it's an 8-module course that goes from idea to launch. What is an LLC and how do you get it? How do you get a bank account? What's an operating agreement? I had no idea. Turns out you need one of those to get a bank account. Who knew? And then I also offer consulting because I need the best healthcare providers to open direct primary care offices all across this country.
Very cool. Yeah, I want to make sure that we include all of those links in the description
Yeah,
just so everyone can get access to them. And yeah, I
absolutely.
like that idea of direct primary care because insurance, you're paying thousands of dollars. If you don't have regular W-2, you're paying thousands of dollars every single month. And most of the time they're just giving you antibiotics and telling you to go.
Right. And that's if they're going to pay for anything, right? Like if you have
Yeah.
a high deductible plan, which most people should, because that's what it should be, you're paying your $800 a month plus your deductible, which is usually another $5,000 to $7,000. You add that up. I mean, we're talking like 10 grand a year. And all that covers is your annual physical. That's it. I mean, maybe a mammogram and a colonoscopy if you're of the right age, but that's all that covers. You have to pay out of pocket for everything else until you've paid $10,000. You know what
Yeah.
you can do in the medical care system if you're paying cash with $10,000? A lot, a lot. And that's a whole nother podcast, is talking crap about insurance companies, but they have their time and place. Don't get me wrong. We don't need to get rid of them fully, but something needs to change because it's broken for sure.
I think I saw this video of someone talking to some healthcare provider service where they took an ambulance to a hospital and they said when they were given the non-insurance price, it was cheaper than out of pocket for the patient than it was if they had insurance, which is insane to me.
And that
Is that
is
true?
the norm. It's 100% the truth. The number of times I've gone to a pharmacy, a doctor's appointment, anything, and said, "What's the cash pay price?" It is 95% of the time cheaper.
Then what do
Well, there's
I
good
won't get
reasons for that,
uh-huh.
right? So the insurance company is actually really smart, because if you have a high deductible plan, you have to pay, let's call it $5,000 out of pocket, right? If I send you for an MRI and we run it through your insurance company, we get the insurance company's contracted rate, which is usually $1,500 to $1,800, and they have to approve it, right? Which oftentimes they're like, "Oh, you need to do physical therapy first." No, you don't. We need to know if your ACL's torn, right? I can send that same order and you can go in as a cash pay patient and you can get that done tomorrow because we don't have any prior auth, and it's $350.
That's
And so
insane.
you, as the high deductible plan patient, are going to pay the $350. Like, why would you pay $1,500? But now that $350 does not go towards your deductible, which means that's $350 that the insurance company keeps in their pocket because they don't have to pay it. It's insane. It's a whole system. It's very broken, and it's not your healthcare provider that made it broken. It is
Yeah.
by far the insurance companies, lobbyists, and all of those things. But we digress.
That is disappointing. But I do want to get back
It is.
to um, mindset. Mindset's a huge
Oh,
thing, and I had no idea
mhm.
before I got into this world. So I know there's going to be 1,000 answers to this, but what is one of the biggest mindset hurdles you've had to get over?
Imposter syndrome, by far. Still, like, I run an incredibly successful business. If somebody came to me and was like, "Oh yeah, I have 3 offices. We treat 2,200 patients and we've been profitable since month 2." I would be like, "Whoa, whatever you're doing is amazing. You're killing
Yeah.
it." Yet me in my own head, I'm like, "Oh, it's not enough. It's not good enough. I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here." So I would say imposter syndrome, and always trying to get to the next thing without celebrating the little wins has been a big change for me, where, we all set goals, right? And ours has to typically do with patient numbers. And so it's like, all right, we got to get to 100 patients. And now we got to get to the next number of patients. And we fail to actually celebrate when we do it, right? And so it just becomes, we forget about it. So yeah, make sure you celebrate, and you belong right where you are. Those are probably 2
Yeah, I
things.
think a big mistake is comparing yourself to someone else's
Mm,
journey. That's a
right,
huge, like, that's a huge like confidence killer. And
right.
then, yeah, the gap in the gain. Try
Yeah,
because the goal always changes.
absolutely. And you're just gonna keep chasing it.
Yeah,
So then you gotta figure out, where's the end game, right? What does, like, success mean? And yeah. And making sure that it's your definition of success. I definitely learned this the hard way, because I was just doing what I thought everybody else thought I should do. Yeah, it turns out they don't care.
yeah. There's one book that mentions this. Like, people want to grow these big businesses, but why? Sometimes
Mm,
staying in your area is way better for your life
yeah.
than trying to build $1 billion business.
Absolutely. You gotta stay in your lane, man. Like, we
Yeah.
get this all the time where people are like, "Oh, do you offer IV therapy? And why don't you bring in a chiropractor? And do you do And I'm like, "No, we don't. This is our lane. This is where we're gonna stay.
Yeah.
And we can add some sort of things on, but there's a time and a place where you have to stick to what you're good at
Right.
and not try to be the best at all the things, because that's not gonna work. I don't care how good you
Yeah.
are."
Yeah. Great advice. So, just curious, what's some advice that you'd give to yourself, knowing what you know now, to your, I guess, the self that left that conference?
Yeah, I think a big one is, things don't have to be perfect. They just have to be done. I think we wait and we wait and we wait because we're like, "Oh, it's not exactly what I want yet." And it's like, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. It needs to be out there into the world. You can always tweak it later. Um and also making sure to celebrate the little wins. because it's really easy just to look past them and keep going. And so I like to celebrate every win. And that's from like my kid comes home with a decent score on a test, or, anything that's small, right? Like whether I got 2 patients this month or 22, like 2 is still good. It's still in the right direction. And so we're all about celebrating. Do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things that learning how to celebrate the small ones has been a challenge. But then once you do it, you're just so much happier.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it just helps you even more to get to the next one. I've listened to a great podcast about this guy who was going on a hike with his dad. And his dad was an older gentleman. And so at one point, they were near the end. The dad was like, "Hey, I'm just going to take a break. You go ahead and go on." So, of course, the son finishes and he's waiting and waiting and it's getting dark. And he goes back and finds his dad sitting on a rock. He's like, "Dad, what are you doing? It's getting dark." And he's like, "I'm just enjoying the journey." And sometimes we have to remember to enjoy the journey because it's not always about the end game. If you're not enjoying getting to the end game, then you might be in the wrong place.
Yeah, I love that. There was a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water that I read that really has that message, really puts things into perspective too.
I like
Not
it.
everyone gets to do what you're doing, so just enjoy it.
Right? Absolutely. Gratitude is a part of my everyday journey. I write it down every day, things I'm grateful for, especially in today's climate. Like things are rough out there. Social media is rough. Politics are rough. Relationships are rough. And so I have to remind myself what I'm grateful for every single day. And then it keeps me going.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Monica, I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your story. How can
Yeah.
people reach out to you and work with you?
Absolutely. Monica McKitterick is a pretty rare name. So you can just Google me and you're probably going to find me. My practice name is Impact Family Wellness. We're the best DPC in all of the country, but there are also DPCs across the country. So if you're looking for alternative healthcare that isn't terrible and that actually takes care of you, if you Google Direct Primary Care Mapper, there's a map of all the practices. I believe there's around 3,000 of them across the country. But if you just want to know more about direct primary care, Impact Family Wellness on all the social platforms, you will see my face everywhere with videos upon videos upon videos explaining all sorts of things. As far as my book and my course goes, that is at thedpcformula.com and also that on social platforms. So, and I'm of course on LinkedIn. So feel free to message me anytime.
Okay, very cool. And we will have all this in the description, like always, just to make life easier for anybody who's interested. Monica,
Absolutely.
thank you again for coming on. It was great to hear your story.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, John. I really appreciate it.
That's it for today's episode of Life After W2. I'm John Chan, and I appreciate you tuning in. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who's ready to take control of their financial future. And if you're curious about how self-directed retirement accounts can unlock opportunities in alternative investing, grab our free guide. It's packed with insights to help you get started. The link's in the description. See you next time.